Hey everybody, I'm an addict and my name is Barry. Thanks. You know why I'm here tonight? Because I'm a miracle. Rocky told me that. Before I get started, I would like to thank the greater Camden area, everybody who's involved with it, for not only selecting me, but for making recovery possible to the addict who still suffers. I remember a time when there was no NA in Camden. Addicts died in Camden. There was one meeting at Dudley and Westfield. That was it. And that wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough for what the Camden area needed. Thank God for the people who did the work for us to be here tonight. Next time you see them, thank them. I mean, you know what? We all talk about being grateful. We talk about it every day. We say how grateful we are for this, for that. Well, if we're that grateful, when was the last time we thanked somebody who banged these doors open for us? And they're here. They're involved in this convention. They're involved in the area. They're involved in the region. They're involved with the newcomers. They're sponsoring people. They're opening the doors of the meetings. They're making coffee. And they're here to carry this message to the guy who's driving by right now who's never even thought about getting help, but knows they need it. Before we get into anything, heavy duty, I'd like to make that thanks like I did. And I'd like to say that I'm humbled. And it takes a lot to humble me. It really does. It takes a lot. I'd like to say that it's an honor. And I was talking earlier and I said, you know what? No matter what I've done in this fellowship, no matter how I've been of service, I still never feel worthy of something like this. How long do I have to be clean before I feel worthy of an honor like this? I don't know. But I keep coming anyway. Whether I feel worthy or not, I'm here. And the one thing I know is that there's people in here who love me. There's people in here who care about me. There's people in here who have faith in me, who are willing to guide me in my recovery. And I know as long as I follow this way, I have nothing to fear. Nothing. And I've never been anywhere or done anything where I had nothing to fear. The only thing I've ever feared in my life was life. I was never scared to die. I was never scared of jails. I was never scared of institutions. But I was always scared to live. Scared to face life. You're talking about what you see in front of you is a guy who from a little kid refused to believe. Had nothing to believe in. Self-sufficiency. Spiritual void. Couldn't relate, man. Couldn't relate. Couldn't relate to other human beings. Live life on my terms. Didn't work. What you're looking at was a kid who, from my earliest recollections, was a troubled kid, a problem child. In the second grade, I used to carry a conduct book to and from school, my teacher would sign it and my mother would sign it. My teacher would sign it, my mother would sign it. From the earliest days, I can remember the teacher saying, Barry, if you don't behave, you're going to spend the day in the corner. Guess who was in the corner by the end of the day? Me. I didn't believe that she would do it. When that didn't work, I heard, Barry, if this continues, you're going to go to the principal. Guess who ended up at the principal? Me. I refused to believe. And when the principal said, hey, Barry, if you don't get it together, you're going to the psychologist. Guess who ended up at the psychologist? Me. And when that didn't work, it was a psychiatrist. And it progressed. The social workers, the probation officers. And when the probation officer said, Barry, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to go to jail. Guess who went to jail? Me. I didn't believe. When I was standing in the courtroom and the judge gave me 5 years, I still didn't believe. Till they took me out in handcuffs. Until they put me on the little van and I ended up in the Maryland Penitentiary. Then I believed. And when I came out and they said, Barry, if you give dirty urines, you're going back. Guess who didn't believe? And it went on and on and on and on until I came to NA. And when I walked in the doors of NA, I knew I had had enough. Boy, they talk about in desperation. In desperation. Think about desperation for 1 minute. I mean, look around. Look at the person next to you, across from you, behind you. You know, we're all looking pretty good tonight. The women in here, if nobody's told you, you look beautiful. I ain't getting into the men. Thank you. Hey, you know what? I got this shirt for Christmas, and I was saving it for tonight. I've never worn it. I saw it hanging in my closet. I don't know how many times I went to grab for it, and it's like, nah, special shirt for a special night. This, you know what? This is probably my most special day in recovery. You know, and I mean, like, I've been asked to do a lot. Like, I've been lucky enough to share at the World Convention. But that doesn't mean as much as coming to my backyard. This is my backyard. This is my neighborhood. I live right down the street. It doesn't get any more honorable than this. And I think, well, why did they pick me? Why did they pick me? You know, and I could get into all the crazy things why they like me. Maybe I sound good. Maybe they think I'm living right. Hey Tyrone, I love you, man. If they knew the way I was really living, they probably would have asked somebody else. You know what I mean? But I go through all kinds of insanity up here. But you know what? I honestly believe the reason that I've been chosen to do this is because God has a plan. That's simple. And I'm a part of it. And it all comes from this power that I refuse to believe in. I mean, like, I came here, like I said, I didn't believe in anything. Couldn't believe. I just couldn't believe, man. You know, like, all I knew was utter desperation brought me here because, think about it, who in their right mind at age 20, 30, 40, 50, however old we are when we come into here, who would ever think of looking for some sort of relief in a church basement? Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't wake up on any given morning and say, well, you know what? It's been a long time. I've been through a lot. My life sucks. Let me try NA. I came in here because, man, I had nowhere else to come. None of us had anywhere else to come. Nowhere to go. The end of the road. The end of the road is NA. We're here, whether we choose to believe it or not, by God's grace. Nothing more, nothing less. And we hear that phrase, but do we really stop and appreciate that phrase? But for the grace of God. If there's anybody in here who is having a problem with God, think of this whole concept of recovery in terms of miracles. Okay? Every seat in here is occupied by a miracle. Where do miracles come from? They come from a power that is so great that to think for 1 second that any one of us can't stop using, that any one of us can't lose that desire to use drugs, to think for 1 minute that none of us can't find that new way to live, to think if any of that can't happen, you might as well leave. You might as well leave. Because to deny recovery is to deny a loving God. To deny the very existence of a loving God. Why are we here? We're here from God's grace and God's mercy. That's why we're here. We're chosen. We have been selected. We have a job, man. And our job is to pass it on. That's what we do here. We pass it on. How did we get this? It was passed on to us. Recovery was made possible. You know what, man? Like, let's take a little stroll down memory lane. Think about that last week of active addiction. Think about that last night in jail. Think about that last day in front of the judge. Think about laying in that little rack, wherever it may have been, and no matter how much shit you could shove in you, it wasn't enough. Think about the lost marriages, the lost relationships, the wreckage that we caused, the jobs we lost, the homes we wrecked, the damage we caused. If anybody in here doesn't believe in miracles, please keep coming back. Please. Please come back. You want to know how awesome God's love is? When I was laying in a treatment facility, 4 people from a Narcotics Anonymous H&I subcommittee, they came in and they said, "Hey, Bear, listen. We can tell you're no spring chicken." I was 36 years old. I was beat up. I probably look younger now than I did almost 11 years ago. They said, "Hey, Bear, listen. We don't know if anybody has really ever identified what your problem is." I mean, I was told a lot of things. I was told I was a thief. I was told I was a liar. I was told I was no good. I was told I was a bum. I was told I was a troublemaker. I was told by other kids that their parents asked them not to hang out with me. I was told by people that they would choose not to associate with me. My mother told me I was no good. She told me I was a liar. Go to your room, you're a liar. Go here, you're a thief. I was told a lot of things by a lot of people, and I believed them. By the time I was 18 years old and went for my physical for Vietnam, I was already on methadone maintenance and had been arrested for possession of heroin and burglary. Judges told me I was no good. When I got my 4F card from Selective Service, it told me I was unfit for military service. And this was my country telling me I was no good. See, so all my life, from a little kid, I had heard I was no good. I heard I was a liar. I heard I was a thief. I heard I was this. I heard I was that. I believed it. I believed it. And I continued to live my life in accordance to those principles. And what it got me was jails and institutions. Just like it says in our readings. You know what? It says the ends are always the same. Always. It doesn't say some people luck out. It doesn't say some people are born with a silver spoon up their butt. It doesn't say if you're a good thief, you're not going to get caught if you don't manipulate. It says always the same. There's a spiritual principle there called anonymity. It always applies. The ends are always the same. That's why I'm here. I couldn't beat the odds. I couldn't buck the system. I kept banging my head against the wall, putting my hand in the fire and getting burnt, till finally I said, hey, you know what? If I don't put my hand in the fire, I'm not going to get burnt. The only thing was I didn't know how not to put my hand in the fire. I had to come here and learn how to not put my hand in the fire. I had to learn a new way to live. A new way. My way wasn't working. 36 years old, my way wasn't working. What I realized through a series of inventories was my way never worked. My way won't work today. And it's guaranteed and it's promised that my way won't work tomorrow. So these people, 4 of them, they said, hey, Barry, you know what? We're identifying your problem. You suffer from a disease called addiction. You are powerless over this addiction, and your life has become unmanageable. And I had no problem buying into that. You know what I mean? That was, when they told me that my life had become unmanageable, really, they were being very kind. They were being gentle. They broke it to me gently. You know what I mean? I couldn't disagree. I couldn't. I said, okay, what's next? We are going to offer you a solution. Now that you know what the problem is, we are also going to give you a solution. And the solution is NA. A program written so simply that we can follow it in our daily lives. And if it hadn't been written so simply, I couldn't follow it in my daily life because it's as simply as it's written. I have a hard time following it in my daily life. So, I mean, if they'd have made it any tougher to follow, I know at least one person that wouldn't be here tonight. You. But that's God's grace. You know what I mean? Like, He comes in through the back door, okay? So I'm laying in this little rack, like I said, at night, and I'm saying, hey, God, listen, I don't know if you are. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you are. I don't know if these people are running a game on me. I don't know if recovery is possible. Because you got to remember, before we found NA, who knew that recovery was possible? I mean, I never saw anybody recover from addiction. Never. I saw people go to Lexington, Kentucky. I saw people go to Synanon. I saw people go to Daytop Village. I saw people go to Second Genesis. I saw people get their heads shaved. I saw them go to therapeutic communities and wear signs. I saw them go to jail over and over and over and over again. I saw my buddies start out getting 6 months for boosting. Then they'd go to a year for like petty theft. Then it would be 2 years for burglary. Then it would be 10 years for armed robbery. Then they'd get it all. They'd get it all. Some of them got it all for a murder beef. Some of them got life on the installment plan. You know, that revolving door. You know what I mean? In and out, and in and out. And the ends are always the same. Hey, listen, while we're on that subject, there's a dude here. I'm going to break his anonymity. His name is John. Just out of prison. Raise your hand, John. And I met him through somebody who gave him my phone number because he was seeking recovery. So I went up to jail to meet him, went up to visit him, sent him literature, sent him tapes, gave him some assignments on the steps. He asked me to sponsor him. I said, love to. He's pushing 50, spent half his adult life in jail, and we're here tonight to say, you never have to use again. And we're here tonight to say that door never has to close on you again. If you want what we have, it's yours. It's yours. There are many people in here who are willing to help. If you want what we have. And what do we have? We have everything. We really do. We have everything. The possession in spirit of a loving God is everything. Big. Big. So I wanted to get that away. But anyway, these four people, they said, if you want what we have. And I wanted it. I wanted it. And you know what? As much as I wanted it, I still had a hard time believing. Okay? Because like I said, I never saw anybody recover from this disease. Never. I saw people die and go to jail. Die and go to jail. Die and go to jail. That's all I saw. I saw them go to methadone. That was the best we could hope for, methadone. I saw them put down the heroin and start drinking like a fish till they ended up shooting heroin again. I saw them put down the heroin and go to the coke. Put down the coke and go to the barbiturates. Substitution. I saw a lot of that. But I never saw anybody abstain and go on to recover from this disease. Never saw it. So even when people told me it was possible, I still refused to believe. See, because I looked around the room and I thought, he's a chump, I'd have stuck him up. I probably spilled more dope than he shot. He probably couldn't cop. He was getting beat shit. Somebody was probably tapping her bags. He's probably a snitcher. I know he couldn't do time. Oh, shit. Look at that. You can dress me up. Still can't take me out. Now my feet are soaking wet, man. Hey, these are new pants. New everything. New belt, new shirt, new shoes, new everything. Hey, you know what? People in here who have known me for a length of time, have you ever seen me look this nice? I mean, I'm proud of myself. I really am. I'm not wearing ripped up jeans. I'm not wearing like a ripped up t-shirt or a Harley Davidson t-shirt. I wanted to present the atmosphere of recovery. You know, there is no model for the recovering addict, but man, you know what? I want the outsides to match the insides. You know what I mean? And we all know our true value is in being ourselves. We know that. And I know it wouldn't matter to you if I was wearing those ripped up jeans and that shirt. But you know what? There might be people in here who that may mean something to. You know what I mean? So I want to look nice, okay? I want to look nice. I want to present the best image of Narcotics Anonymous that I can. You know? I want people to say, I want what he has. Okay? I have a beautiful wife here who came to support me. I have a lot of friends here. Most of the guys I sponsor are here tonight for me. That's how we pass it on. We show up in force. And our sponsorship chain, it's a we thing. Okay? Self-sufficiency is a lie. Is a lie. We do this together. But anyway, back to God's grace. We always seem to come back to God's grace, which is just as it should be. It really is. That's right where we're supposed to go. Back to. Because that's what this is all about, God's grace. So anyway, I'm in this treatment center, you know, and I'm doubting everybody, and I'm still thinking this is about me. There is no we, because nobody comes in here thinking, oh, this is a we thing. You know what I mean? This is a me thing. You know what I mean? It takes time and it takes work to get the ability to surrender to the principles of recovery. And once we surrender to the principles of recovery, the I seems to get knocked out of the way and the we seems to enter. You know? And how can we come in here? We come in here so darn selfish. It takes time and work and guidance to go towards selflessness, which is being God-centered. It takes work. And most addicts early in recovery are just hanging on for dear life. Hey, some addicts not new in recovery are hanging on for dear life. This addict up here at this podium is hanging on for dear life. The one thing that I've made is a commitment, a personal commitment to my own recovery. Just like my wedding vows, okay? I want to be as faithful to my personal recovery as I have been to my wife. Takes work. I mean, man, there's some fine-looking women in here, and I would love to do y'all. One's too many, and y'all ain't enough. I'll say it again. One's too many, and you're all not enough. So anyway, back to this loving God. So I go back to this little cot, and I say, hey, listen, God, if you are, what you are, who knows? All I'm saying is, if you can help me find this new way of life that these people are talking about, I will do anything for you. See, that's how conditional my early recovery was. I would do anything only if you did this for me. Okay? I didn't say, hey, God, please help me to recover, period. I didn't say, hey, God, I'm going to do anything for you because I love you. I made a bargain. Okay? And now this is how neat the steps are. We come in here and we take a first step and we say, hey, you know what? I'm going to finally, after all these years, get honest and admit my powerlessness. Admit that I have no ability whatsoever to control not only my drug usage, but I'm going to take it a step further and admit that I cannot control my life. I can't manage my feelings. I can't control my emotions. That's what I'm admitting. When I come in here and I take a first step, I'm admitting my deepest, darkest secrets. That I'm scared to live. And then, once we honestly do that, it's not that hard to get with a second step. I mean, we're left with such a void, man, that God help us if we don't have something to fill it. And what that is a power. And that power is greater than us. And that power is loving, and that power is caring. And that power could be a number of different powers. And for this addict, that original power was the power of example. One addict staying clean for 24 hours. Blew my mind. I mean, think about it. An addict. People sticking pipes in their mouth, spikes in their arms, spikes in their neck, doing all that, whatever we did. People doing all of that, not using for a 24-hour period. I mean, that's a miracle. Man, I'm afraid I'll spill it. I better be an addict and drink it all in one shot. That way I can't spill it. But I said, hey, God, if you can do this for me. And I took this second step, and I had this power of example. And that power went from the power of example to the power of the principles of recovery. Then it went to the group, and it went to the power of sponsorship, and the power of the therapeutic value of one addict helping another. And it went to the power of love. And that's what this whole thing is based on. Love. God's love. That's what life itself is based on. God's love. How can we best serve? In what capacity? And God's grace is that for an addict, the best capacity to serve is by helping another addict find what we have. It heals us and it heals them. The therapeutic value of one addict doing for another what nobody else in life seemed to be able to do for a paycheck. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I went to great psychiatrists, $100 an hour psychiatrists. You know, I remember walking in the psychiatrist and telling him I was shooting morphine. He said, "We got to stop." I said, "No problem." Went back a week later. "Did you stop?" "Sure." Never asked me again. Long as I had $100 check, that's all that mattered. You know, when I went to a lawyer, I said, "Hey, you know what, man? I got busted for selling heroin and I'm facing some time. You think you could help me?" "Yeah, a $2,500 retainer. I'll help you." I come in here, and you know what I was given? I was given love. I was given time, okay? I was given energy. I was given money. I was given food. I was given whatever it took to bring me back one more time. And you know what? It's almost 11 years later, and I'm still given just what I need to keep me coming back. We're all given. God has met us all individually at the level of our needs. That's pretty powerful. Every one of us, individually, at the level of our own needs. So when I saw you start to recover, guess what? I said, you know what? If you can do it, there's a possibility that this could also work for me. So how do I got to do it, man? I was told to get a sponsor. I said, okay. I mean, I had sponsors all my life. I just didn't call them sponsors. You know what I mean? When I made that decision to chase that first one, I got somebody who was familiar with the lifestyle, and I followed his footsteps. You know what I mean? And when he no longer had what I wanted, the big boys on the corner who were nodding and dipping and scratching, and they had the boxing glove hands, when they had what I wanted, I went to them. And I said, can you show me how to live the way you're living? You know what I mean? So when I came in here, I had no problem with asking somebody to show me something. When I came in here, I had no problem with acceptance, okay, of who and what I am, where my life has gone, because all my life I practiced acceptance. If I walked out of the house on any given morning and ended up in Camden County Jail, so be it. If I walked out of the house on any particular morning and ended up in the Maryland House of Correction, so be it. If I got stuck up, beat up, or robbed, hey, I could accept that, because when we did the things we did, we got the things we got. You know what I mean? If I got beat, I just went out and did it again and came back. I kept coming back. You know? I was involved in the process. You know what I mean? The getting and using and finding ways and means to get more. I used to live and lived to use. Period. End of story. I found NA and I got a shot of hope. I went from a dope fiend to a hope fiend. And I saw that this could happen for me. Guess what? I got the courage, the spiritual courage, to make a decision. I made a decision to become part of the we and turn my will and my life over to the care of a loving God. And I haven't looked back since. Got no reason to look back. If I want to chuckle, every now and then I look back. But once I made that decision, boy, and that decision is a daily decision. Hey, listen, please, I'm not going to stand up here and try to tell you that I walk on water, that I'm a spiritual giant, because I wouldn't insult you like that. I'm up here basically to tell you I'm an addict in recovery who not only can, but does screw up most things I get involved in. That's what I do. Our second tradition tells us we're egotistical, self-centered mismanagers who are incapable of consistently making good decisions. You can give me the most spiritual journey, and I will find a way to destroy it. Because for some reason, I think it's ego, I have the tendency to let money, property, and prestige interfere with spiritual matters. And they collide. They collide. You know what I mean? This is a spiritual journey. I mean, I know I'm human. I have wants, wishes, and desires. It's hard to separate what I need and what I think I need. Sometimes I can't get any clarity in my mind about what's best for me because I'm caught in the grip. Caught in obsession. Enjoying the acting out. At work today, I was riding with this guy, and he was talking about getting over. And he says, "Why do you get over?" I said, "Man, because I love it. I love to get over." You know what I mean? It makes me feel good to get over. I don't need to get over, but it's exciting to get over. You know what I mean? And every one of us has our own little ways of getting over. You know what I mean? We all have our little idiosyncrasies, and they're called reservations that we refuse to let go of. Even when our book tells us the only way we'll find total recovery is to rid ourselves of all reservations. So why do we bite the hand that feeds us? I'm up here to tell you, I bite the hand that feeds me, and I don't know why, other than that's my true nature. But I know as long as I make that decision on a daily basis to turn my wants, wishes, and desires over to the care of this loving God, I got nothing to fear. So anyway, as we progress through the steps, and I'm not here to go through all the steps, that's your thing, man. You know, I went through the steps. I'm not everybody's sponsoring here. You find your own meaning of the steps. I found mine. I'm here to share my experience. I'm not here to try to shove or ram the steps down anybody's throat. But all I'm trying to do is say, like, somehow later down the road, I got to a 12th step. Another miracle. And the 12th step says, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we're asked to do two things. And those two things basically are love and serve. You know, we love and serve. We love God, we serve God. We love other people, we start to learn to love ourselves. And anyway, so listen, dig this. I'm laying in this bed and I'm saying, hey God, listen, help me. Help me to find this way to live. Okay? And if you do, I will do this for you. Now here it is, years later, 12 steps later, and I say, hey God, you know what? I'm going to go do this for you just because it's the right thing to do. I'm going to go share my experience, strength, and hopes with no conditions. I'm going to give back to NA what has freely been given to me, and that's life. I'm going to go to NA and I'm going to find everybody who needs help, who is willing to receive it, and I'm going to give them whatever I have. And I'm going to come to NA and I'm going to continue to show up no matter what. And I'm going to come to NA and I'm going to make sure, if nowhere else at my home group, those doors are open and the message of hope is available to the guy who's walking in the door tonight. And I'm going to show up and I'm going to give of myself. And I'm going to give of my spirit. And I'm going to give of my heart. And I'm going to come with an open mind. And I'm going to come with open arms. And I'm going to come with an open heart. And I'm going to come with open eyes. And I'm going to love somebody if they can't love themselves. And I'm going to be an example to the best of my ability. That recovery is possible, that lie is dead, that we do recover. Recovery is available, that we can live productive, responsible lives, and that we can be happy, we can be joyous, and we can be free. And if nobody else in here has said they love you, I'm saying I love you. If nobody else in here says that they're willing to help you, I'm willing to help you. If nobody else in here has said, I'll sponsor you, I'm telling you, I'll sponsor you. Uh-oh, my wife just gave me a... Man, listen. Yeah, but you can't call. Hey, listen. I love my wife. I love my wife more tonight than I loved her when I met her. That's from Narcotics Anonymous. That's from God's love, okay? God opened me up to receive love, and through receiving love, I got the ability to give love, okay? That's how it worked for me. I love you very much. I love everybody in here. Thank you for giving me this honor. My sponsors back there, I love you very much, if nobody's told you. And thanks for listening.